Okay, so I just got off the phone with Justin and my mother-in-law, and my mom has just gone out to have a cigarette. I'm gonna smoke, it's okay. Tonight, I want to tell you about how this conversation went with Oprah. Well, I didn't have a conversation with Oprah. I did get my picture with her, and that was awesome. But what was better was this speech, and we weren't able to record it, and I didn't take any notes, but there's a few things that are playing back in my head, so I want to be able to relay them to you, okay? So, first thing I took away from tonight is you are responsible for your life. You. So it doesn't matter what is happening with your life right now. If God forbid you are in a terrible relationship or an abusive relationship, if you have a bad job, or if you're overweight, or you're feeling sluggish, or you're tired, or whatever, gosh, there's so many things there's so many variables that can go wrong in life. I feel like I feel so lucky that in this point in my life, I have healthy children, and I have a roof over my head, and I can pay my bills, and I have a good job. I've got good metabolism, obviously, so what the hell would I have to complain about, right? So I could see how if anybody were watching this, they would tell me to go fly a kite, and that's okay, you can do that. But what Oprah said tonight, and I really believe in it, is you are responsible for your life. So my whole life has not always been peaches and cream. I do feel like I've been set up for success, but I went through a lot of adversity in with my mom's mental illness and her bipolar, and my mom and dad fighting a lot growing up, and seeing some things I probably shouldn't have seen, and hearing some things I probably shouldn't have had to hear as a child. For the most part, I had a pretty blessed life though, and my parents always encouraged me and supported me and whatnot. But there was some tough times that a lot of kids that I was friends with didn't have to experience, that I had to experience. And I remember there was a time in my life where people felt sorry for me, and I just remember thinking, no, don't feel sorry for me, like I've got it good. And I always wondered, why do people feel sorry for me? Because mom and dad were going through separations, and they were fighting, and mom wasn't doing well, and she was in the hospital, and I still don't really understand, because I always feel like my parents were so awesome that I had it good that way. I loved when Oprah said, you are responsible for your life. So regardless of what is standing in your way right now, you can make a change, whatever that is, whether that means changing your diet, or changing your perspective, or using whatever adversity is coming at you to your advantage. I'm still trying to figure that out, but it's something she said tonight that really resonated with me. So I'm really trying to figure out how I can help you figure out how that's going to resonate with you, and how that's going to resonate with me, because my life isn't completely perfect, and I want to be able to take all the shitty little things that happen and turn them into good things. The other thing she said tonight that I really loved was, she said, whatever you put out there in the world is like what are those things where there's like a ball and it hits another ball and it hits another ball and it goes up and it goes out. And whatever you put out there is going to come back and hit you in the face. Always. You put out good, and good's going to come back and slap you right in the ass. If you put out bad, it's going to come back and slap you. So to always remember that whenever you're going down the rabbit hole of negativity, is how do you put out the good, and how do you make other people feel inspired, and how do you make other people feel good about themselves? Because if you're feeling shitty about yourself, or you're feeling shitty about life, how can you bring that back to yourself? You have to put good out into the world. You got to put good out. How can you bring that back to yourself? How can you turn that around? You have to put good out into the world. And even if you're kind of faking it, and you're standing at the grocery line, and you're feeling like you've had a crappy day, I think it's okay to look at somebody and say, I'm so sorry, I had a crappy day. Okay, so here's a story for you. It has nothing to do with Oprah, so you can fast forward if you want to. Justin and I and the kids drove from Kelowna to Calgary for Christmas, and it was a super long drive, and towards the end of the drive, everybody was melting down, and Justin was smoking at the time. He's since quit smoking, and he was a little bit agitated. Everybody was agitated. Everybody needed to eat. Everybody needed a coffee. So we pulled over at Tim Hortons, and I could not get into Tim Hortons fast enough to get our order in and get back on the road. And somebody opened up the door for me, but I never even paid attention to that. I was like beelining it to the front door. And as I as she opened the front door for me and I kept on going, I heard her in my back ear saying, "You're welcome." And I thought to myself, oh my God, I am that asshole who did not say thank you to the person who opened the door for me. So as I was standing in line, I waited for her to get off her phone and I turned to her and said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't say thank you for opening the door. Like, I'm so sorry." And she goes, "No, it's okay." She said, and she started crying and she said, "I've just had a really rough day already." And it was first thing in the morning. And she said, "I've just had a really rough day already." And I was just feeling agitated. And at that moment, I knew that is a situation that you never know what somebody is going through. You just never know. And that was an opportunity where she said, "You're welcome." And I could have been like, "Oh, scary," or whatever. But I took a moment to say, "I'm sorry for not saying thank you." And she took the moment, which was even a bigger move, to say, "I'm so sorry. I just had a shitty day." And her and I ended up having a little conversation about, I've had shitty days like that before, and there's times I've done that. And it was like super, super brief, but I got back in the car feeling like I want to be a better person now. And I hope she felt the same ways. Anyways, that's the whole point. Whatever you put out there, you get back. And so there may be a day where you feel crappy, or there may be a day where you don't feel beautiful, but maybe if you compliment somebody else, or maybe you go and get that exercise, or go for a walk, or tell the birdie hello, or whatever it is, hopefully, eventually, that's gonna come back to you. I think the biggest thing that she kept on saying was like, she grew up without having a really close relationship with either one of her parents. But at some point when she was very, very young, somebody told her that she was God's child. And I think you know me by now, you know I'm not religious at all. Justin grew up in Catholic family. So they go to church, or they went to church a lot. I didn't go to church much at all. But I do believe if you need that and you need Jesus and you need God, I think it's very important. And I didn't believe that I was God's child growing up, but growing up I felt like my parents reminded me how important I was and how I was powerful and I had influence and how I could do anything I wanted to do. And somewhere along the lines, Oprah convinced herself that she was God's child and she was destined to do great things. And because of that mindset, she just kept on saying, "Well, I can do it." People would tell her you would fail. I don't think anybody's told me I'm gonna fail. Maybe along the way. Actually, it's funny, my agent, Bill, has always been my biggest supporter. He's my first agent. His assistant, Tyler, who he hired, is now my real agent. He's kind of my granddaddy agent. He's not so much my agent anymore, but he's still in my life. He always built me up and he always told me I could do anything. And when I started blogging and I was really struggling with it, he basically told me like it's a waste of time. He didn't tell me I was gonna fail, but he told me I should quit it. And somehow, I don't know if it was my parents or what it was, I believed that I could do something with it. And now I feel like I'm so lucky because I have this opportunity to have a voice and be able to talk to you guys about life and about my travels. So anyways, Bill, I don't feel like they're the kind of guy to tell people that they're gonna fail, but you did at one point, and I think I got you on this one. Anyways, in life, like Oprah said, if somebody tells you that you're gonna fail, what's the worst that can happen? So frickin' what if you fail? So what? You fail, you get up and you try something else. It's okay. What's the worst that's gonna happen if you don't make the friends and you don't have the conversation? In fact, tonight we were at this gala dinner. It was like the meet Oprah and get your picture taken, and it was by invitation only. And I thought, well, this is great. This is gonna be all the same like-minded people. And I did not feel like I fit in, and I tried to make conversations with people and I felt like I couldn't, and I just felt really uncomfortable, and I ended up leaving, and that's okay, but that's okay. Here I am by myself in my room talking to you guys. I feel like it was only fair of me, since I couldn't film the whole speech with Oprah, that I relay to you what I took away from it. So that is what I took away from it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you later.